What's up, everyone? How you guys doing on this beautiful day? I hope you guys are enjoying your day. Thank you guys for watching the Derek O'Shea Show. If you don't mind sharing this on every single social media platform, I'd greatly appreciate it. It's the only way we will grow as a community, and I appreciate you for doing that. It means a lot to me. You stick your neck out for me. I wake up this morning, I read through the news. I'm going through all the news articles, and, you know, as very typical when you're under the regime of a Democrat, when a Democrat's in office, the news cycle is just, for some reason, feels slower and harder to find news. Because when these journalists are actually activists and the things that you push for, they're all in power, you don't report on things. And so you don't have things to talk about. And there's nobody's freaking out over Joe Biden getting ice cream yesterday. And some news reporter said, Joe Biden, you're going to get Rocky Road because you're going to build infrastructure? Got him. God. Why? The way the media fawns over our politicians is disgusting. Or the Vogue putting out Dr. Jill Biden, her Vogue. What Melania always wanted was a Vogue. I'm just gross. Anyways, so I scour the internet all day and looking for a decent article or good story. And I wake up to this. Because this is what our politicians are actually concerned about. They're not actually concerned about the inflation going around, your gas prices, whatever this infrastructure bill really is. They're not concerned about this new COVID variant, even though they're just slowly trying to build it up like that's something. They're not concerned about what's going on in the world with Russia and China potentially taking over Taiwan and stuff like that, or the housing market and how it is, and BlackRock. They're not concerned about you. They're concerned about themselves. They're concerned about staying in power. They're concerned about winning the next election. They're concerned about having their moment in front of the camera, having their moment that will be put on Twitter or Instagram if you're AOC, or TikTok. But they're worried about having their moment. I wake up to the House passing a bill to get rid of Confederate statues. That's what they're working on right now. That's what they're spending time doing right now. Because that's the pressing issue, is to get rid of these Confederate statues. I agree. I don't care. Get rid of them. Who cares? I'm not one of those people that are like, we need to honor, I don't care. I don't care. But there are way bigger issues that they could be working on than passing this garbage. Because who cares? Because this is all about a moment. You saw it yesterday with Kevin McCarthy talking about this bill, and he was saying that, I'm fine, let's get rid of all these statues. I mean, they're Democrats, for God's sakes. Yeah, got him. And I laughed. I laughed too, because I'm like, yeah, they are. So let's get rid of them. Well, of course the Democrats want to get rid of that pass. They don't like talking about that. I almost want them to keep the Confederate statues up and then have like a big sign that says Democrat in front so people just know. Because there's a lot of people out there that still don't know that for some reason, which makes no sense. But I woke up this morning, and what is it about? Is it about getting rid of statues? No. It's about something else. And I'll show you towards the end of this NBC article. House passes bill to remove Confederate statues from the Capitol. The measure passed the House in the last Congress, but stalled at the GOP-controlled Senate. Those GOP people, they love their Confederate soldiers. Oh, don't you love the media? Maybe the GOP has said, why are we talking about this now? Is this really the pressing issue as we just came out of the pandemic? And our economy is trying to come back together, and, bacon prices have gone up. Washington, the House voted on Tuesday legislation to remove Confederate statues from the public display in the Capitol, as well as a bust of Chief Justice Roger B. Taney, who wrote the 1857 Dred Scott decision that said black people couldn't be citizens. And I agree. Get rid of that crap. But again, is this really the pressing issue of today? According to Lori Lightfoot, we need to address the Chicago racism before we talk about the murders. And actually, the murders have gone down, even though last weekend was 47 people shot. And this last weekend, this closer to last weekend was 75, 72 people shot. The numbers are going down. Don't look at the numbers because the numbers are racist. We need to address this racial inequity. Okay. It passed the House in 285 to 120 with 67 GOP lawmakers voting in favor of the bill along with Democrats, who hold a razor-thin majority in the Senate. And we need 60 votes to advance the bill. It'll probably pass. The measure passed the House in last Congress, but stalled. That's right. The measure passed the House last Congress. If it doesn't work first time, let's try it again. And we'll keep doing it because we'll do it over and over because we're all about easy stuff. This is what our politicians are worried about. They're more concerned about these little easy issues, these little easy wins that make them look good. It's just like when you watch the media. You watch Fox News, you watch CNN. CNN wants to talk about Trump and what is Trump doing, his golf swing, and Trump's family is breaking up, and Rudy Giuliani. We're going to talk about all these easy stuff. They don't want to go out and do actual journalism. It's like sometimes you turn on Fox News, and majority of the time on Fox News, besides Tucker Carlson, is like, or Brett Baer, it's just these little moments. They're just like, oh, let's talk about the Olympian flag thing for a whole hour-long segment, or let's talk about cancel culture. Let's just talk about these easy, fun opinion pieces, because that's all we're about. That's what the corporate media is about. And the news media especially, is that they're just little activists, and they're just like little Instagram models, and they're just touting. They're not actually going out and doing hardcore journalism, getting to know people, getting to know your problems. That's dead. I hope it comes back. I really do, because as somebody doing what I do, they're just the same thing as me. They're just commenting on the news. They're not actually doing journalism. Okay. The measure passed with the majority was introduced in the House earlier this year. And this is the part in the article that gives you a hint of why they're passing it. Because they're not just passing it to get rid of Confederate statues. No. It's always about the message. It's about continuing the narrative. You think it's about Confederate soldiers being taken down. What are you, silly? No, it's more. It's always more. When the measure was introduced in the House earlier this year, House Majority Whip James Clyburn, Democrat of South Carolina, which I'm from, cited that the January 6th attack on the Capitol, in which some supporters of former Donald Trump paraded Confederate flags and other symbols of hate as a reason to do away with the statues. You need to be reminded of the January. How do we remind these people of January 6th again? Oh, we'll get rid of Confederate statues, and then we can talk about it. On January 6th, we experienced the divisiveness of the Confederate battle flags being flown inside the U.S. Capitol, Clyburn said, yet there are still vestiges that remain sacred to the building, glorifying people of the movement and embrace the flag that sought to destroy our country. And that's what it's ultimately about for them, is they want to continue this January 6th narrative of it destroying the Capitol. And because the average person looks at January 6th and say, yeah, that was a terrible thing, but isn't it time to move on? Isn't it time to progress? Democrats, you are in power, all in power. And most of us, unlike you, look at the riots all summer long as a bigger pressing issue. I know it wasn't on your steps, but it was on our steps. But again, these politicians do not care about you. They don't care about the real issues. They don't care about what's pressing you today. They don't care if you're living in your apartment and you can't afford a house because the housing market is absolutely bonkers as China continues to buy up land and Bill Gates buys up land and BlackRock can, that's subsidized by the government. That will be back to the government. If they fail, they buy up more. All these things, they want you to own nothing and they want you to be happy about it, create this whole renting class because that's what it's all about, because they don't want you to own anything, because owning things will give you independence and you can have a family and then you can do good things like finally become conservative because you have things. Anyways, they don't care about you. They're talking about Confederate statues like it's this pressing issue that absolutely must be addressed before we can even discuss any kind of inflation or what's going on globally or this new Delta variant. And they don't care about the Delta, and you don't, and I don't. So, but there's other things going on in the world. But their mission, these politicians' mission, is to get the camera on them in some capacity, so they look at these statues as an easy peasy lemon squeezy win. Because that's what it's about for these people. Let me know your thoughts about it. I have another new segment coming out, but I just saw this and I just thought I need to say something because people say this is a great thing, blah, blah, blah. Sure, it's great, but it's just a pointer for you to remember January 6th. And it's also, are they actually doing anything to improve your life? Getting rid of these statues, does it help you at all? After we just went through this, these politicians keep talking about how terrible COVID-19 was and stuff like that, but then they're more focused on stuff like this and addressing racial inequity as opposed to, helping you, the average citizen, as our, a border is flooded and inflation is on the rise and they're cutting gas pipelines because, it's an environmental thing and we want to force you all to be on electric vehicles because it's a good thing. That's a good thing. Let me know your guys' thoughts. But this is the pressing news story of the day. Really? This is it? This is what we're getting today on this lovely Wednesday is we're getting rid of the statues. Isn't that cool? We're doing hard work here in Congress. Democrats, this is your push. Congratulations, those who voted for Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. This is what you get. Have a fantastic day, everyone. As always, I'll see you on the next episode. I got another episode coming out. I'm going to continue to look for a real story. All right. Have a great day. Bye.